We're witnessing the death of real singing in K-pop, and most fans didn't even notice. You're watching your favorite idol on stage, they're dancing at 100% intensity, jumping, spinning, running, and somehow their voice sounds perfect. No cracks, no instability, almost like a studio recording. But then the Encore happens, with no choreography, no heavy backtrack, just a mic and their raw voice. And suddenly everything changes. The same idol sounds unstable, breathless, and sometimes even off key. So what happened? Did they lose their talent overnight? Or we were never hearing their real voice to begin with? Because this isn't just about bad performances, this is about a massive shift inside the K-pop industry where singing is no longer the priority. The economic architecture, the price of perfection. To understand the vocals, we must follow the money. As my research into the big four companies SM, Hype, YG, and JYP shows, an idol is a high-risk manufactured asset. The cost of training a single idol can reach hundreds and thousands of dollars before they even debut. In this model, companies can't afford artistic soul, they need a guaranteed return on investment. Visuals and performances are stable assets. You can fix a dance in 10 hours of practice, you can fix a look with styling, but raw vocal, that's unpredictable. This is why agencies have shifted their recruitment focus. They aren't looking for their next Britney Spears. They are looking for a visual paradigm that can be taught to carry on. The voice has become a secondary layer of the product, not the foundation. The pedagogical shift. So let's look at the recent training schedules. A typical day for a trainee starts around 10 a.m. and can end as late as 2 or 3 in the morning. But let's look at the breakdown of those 15 hours. Trainees spend around 8 to 10 hours on dance and performance synchronization, and the vocal lessons are only 1 or maybe 2 hours, and sometimes it's often shared with other trainees. And there is that common belief that if you can dance, you can also sing, but the whole high intensity dancing and stable vocal control are two different things. In the first and in the second generation of idols, vocalists like Taeyeon or Hyolyn were trained as vocalists first, but in the fourth and the fifth generation, idols are trained more and more as content creators. They are taught how to look good on camera while moving, which leaves little room to develop the deep muscular memory required for a master level vocal technique. So let's talk about it. Why idols can't sing anymore. Hello everyone, I'm Christina, and here I talk about different K-pop topics, so if you're interested, subscribe. Now, before I go on, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that all idols can sing. That would be a huge lie, but every generation of idols have incredible vocalists who carry the groups. But we have to acknowledge that there is this trend, especially in the latest generations, where the average vocal isn't as high and the priorities are different now. You have to remember that every member has a specific role in a group. In fact, I made a whole video about the K-pop archetypes in male groups. You can watch it here. You can find the link in the card or in the description if you want to understand the logic behind these positions. In most groups, the system relies on the vocal line for a reason. Agencies specifically pick a few members that can actually sing very, very well, that are the vocal anchors in the group. Those are the ones that spend extra hours in the studio and have extra vocal lessons. The rest of the group is often recruited based on different assets, dance, rap, or visual impact. My point isn't that talent has disappeared, but that the industry has specialized talent so much that singing is no longer an important requirement for every member on that stage. So we are moving from groups of singers to performance units with a designated vocal support, the technology of deception. So let's get into the matrix of K-pop. Most people think it's just singing or not singing. It's actually a spectrum of technical mediation, the live MR conspiracy. Have you ever noticed how an idol sounds breathless, but the pitch remains 100% perfect?
Hey, what did you do to my mind? 네가 궁금해져. 밤새 질문할 수도 없어.
That's a pre-recorded live session. Companies hire professional vocalists or use the idols themselves to record a version of the track where they simulate exhaustion. They add a few fake heavy breathing and human mistakes in the studio, then play that during a performance. So it's a simulation of effort. In the studio, every single syllable is moved to the grid, but now this is moving to the stage. Modern digital mixers have auto-tune in real-time plugins, so if an idol sings with a certain margin of error, the machine pulls the right note to the right pitch instantly. The music show filter. So when you watch a show on YouTube from the Megdown or Inkigayo, you aren't hearing what the people hear in the studio. The audio goes through a cleaning process. They reduce the background noise, boost the vocals, and apply a limiter so that the voice sounds more thick and powerful. It's like a Instagram filter, but for the voice. So we've become so used to this photoshopped audio that when we hear a real, raw human voice, we think it sounds bad or weak. Our hearing has been conditioned to prefer the whole auto-tune versions. But if they are singers, why do they need so much help? Many people are agreeing that the problem starts even before the debut at the scouting phase, because agencies are increasingly casting for TikTokable faces. The logic is simple. You can't fix a face in a dance practice, but you can fix a voice in the studio. So this has led to what fans call the visual first era, where the vocal coach is not the most important in the room, but the video editor is.
The choreography trap. We need to talk about how dances have become athletic marathons. The industry has pushed choreography to a point where it is physically impossible to maintain a proper breath support. As many critics point out, K-pop has evolved into a performance art where the singing is just a background element. We are essentially watching professional dancers who happen to hold microphones. But what about when they actually sing live? It requires more than just talent. It requires specific physical hacks like vocal compression and micro-breathing. Idols are trained to use vocal compression to keep the voice stable while the body is moving. By tightening the core and controlling the release of air from the diaphragm, they can produce a consistent sound even during jumps or fast movements. Then they use the ghosting or selective singing technique. This is a strategic choice where idols ghost or skip certain words, usually the ones that land on heavy dance moves or jumps, to catch their breaths for the main note. The backtrack or the vocal line members cover these gaps, creating the illusion of a continuous vocal performance. Idols practice micro-breathing, which is the art of taking very short, sharp sips of air in between dance counts. This is often choreographed just like the dance moves themselves, ensuring the lungs are never completely empty. Then we have the vocal placement, the mask resonance. In this technique, to cut through a loud backtrack without straining, many idols use forward placement or mask resonance by directing the sound towards the front of the face, the nose and mouth area. The voice becomes clear, requiring less physical effort than just singing.
The psychology of the Encore, trauma, and the viral clips. This is where the industry's obsession with perfection is highly toxic, to say the least. The Encore stage used to be a celebration, now it's a trial by fire. If you remember the backlash against Les Seraphim that happened, where the criticism wasn't just about a few flat notes, it was a whole global debate about the legitimacy of the group and of the idol title. And also, when a group from a massive agency like Hype struggles to sing live, it creates a huge brand crisis and backlash. So because of the whole Twitter, TikTok culture, idols are now developing vocal anxiety, and also when you're that much pressured and being filmed in high definition cameras all the time during an encore can actually make the throat muscles tighten, and it's a physical reaction to that fear. So often, to avoid scandals like this, many 4th and 5th generation idols are taught to sing small instead of projecting their whole voice. They sing very quietly and let the backtrack do the work.
Undress me on the way to perfection. Yeah, wanna take it up. I know I love me.
Because a quiet voice is harder to criticize than a loud, cracked high note.
When the kiss one of me. Where some milk and tell me when you were young and your heart was an open book.
So we are losing the power vocals in some artists because safe vocals are better for the company's stock price. So think about it. Would you rather be a mid singer who never makes mistakes because of the tech, or a great singer that occasionally cracks under pressure? In today's K-pop industry, the safest option is to choose the mid one because it's safer for the business. So this brings us to the most controversial topic in K-pop right now, because in the 2nd generation every group had powerful singers. Today the lines are blurred. Many main vocals in the 4th or 5th generation could have been only sub-vocalists back 10 years ago, because the standard has dropped and the industry now prioritizes a pleasant tone that sounds good with a little bit of autotune over raw and powerful voices. So there is a huge discussion online about whether the biggest agencies are failing the artists. These companies have so much money, but they still rely on technology instead of teaching idols how to sing properly. When an idol from a top tier group fails an encore, it's not just a mistake. It's seen as a proof that the agency is lazy or greedy, choosing to debut people before they are even ready. So this creates a toxic loop where fans attack idols for poor singing, and agencies respond by using more lip syncs to protect them, and idols get less experience to sing live, making them even more nervous for the next encore. It's a downward spiral that ends in the vocal trauma I mentioned earlier. So it's honestly a bit sad that these idols train for 5, 6 or even 7 years, but they spend that time learning how to look perfect for a 15-second TikTok instead of learning how to control their diaphragm. The encore problem, it's not just an embarrassment for the idol themselves, it's an indictment of the whole training system that failed to give them tools to succeed as actual successful singers. So often in groups, the vocal line acts as a shield. In a 7-member group, if 2 members can sing very well live, the agency still uses backtracks to help the other members, and the vocal line can actually carry on the high scary notes. So this allows groups to debut faster, but leaves the non-vocal members exposed and anxious during the encores. So we are seeing the paradox where agencies market idols as all-rounders. I mean, some of them are, but definitely not all of them. Sometimes as soon as the backtrack is turned off, the whole all-rounder title vanishes. I would rather hear a great vocalist making a few minor mistakes but actually singing in real life. And it's also unfair to the idols themselves. Imagine to debut in a group after 2 years of training because you're a great dancer, a visual, and later being torn apart by millions of people online because you can't hit a high note or you went off pitch. The system is settling them up for a vocal trauma by prioritizing the debut over the actual voice preparation. So one of the most frequent questions is that, are they getting worse or are we seeing the idols themselves more and more? The truth is probably both. Groups are debuting younger and younger every time. There isn't time for a proper vocal training and development when you need to debut a group every 2 years to keep that stock price up. So in today's technology, a trainee doesn't even need to be a great singer to record a famous song. This removes the incentive to work hard on the vocal technique. There's also the trend of rising AI idols. Companies are now investing heavily in virtual idols like Plave or Maeve because they don't age, they don't have scandals, their vocals are digitally perfect every time, and we are seeing the technology that can make a visual-only idol and overlay a perfectly AI-generated vocal base. Is the future of K-pop just a beautiful face, a great performer on stage, and singing has become a less important human skill? So if the system has made humans' voices so fragile and expensive to maintain, so what is their next move? Are they going to just fix the training, maybe invest more in vocal lessons, or they're going to replace humans entirely? In my next video, we're going deep dive into the rise of virtual idols and AI K-pop groups, and trust me, it's realer and closer than you think. Subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!